and welcome to the January edition of W-OLGC TV News. Happy 2015. Let's start off with Nick to see how the kindergartners are starting off the new year.
Thanks, Pat. The kindergarten is really busy this year, especially in math and religion. This month, the kindergarten will be talking about their 5 senses in religion class and discussing what wonderful gifts they are from God. In math, they will be writing numbers up to 20. They should also remember to practice counting to 50, as they will use this skill for counting the days of school. Word building is also a top priority in the class, as the children will substitute initial and final words into their vocabulary. I guess we call it prefixes and suffixes in the big school. Right, Pat?
That's right, Nick. Speaking of endings and beginnings, let's head over to Natalie to see how the first and second graders are doing.
The first and second grades are excited for the new year and ready to learn new things. With their brains refreshed, they are ready to tackle challenges and lessons ahead. Right now, they are reading Anne's Trip to the Stars and Mark's Big Day. Remember to practice your math flashcards. In science, they are working on their habitat projects. In the second grade, they are learning new robust vocabulary and suffixes. They are also excited about reading new stories in their Storytown books. They should also keep reading every day. It will help them understand the words better. And Pat, the students should remember to fill in their phonetic or phonetic reading logs as often as they can.
That's great, Natalie. I bet they had a lot of books to add from over break. Now let's head over to Anthony with the 3rd and 4th grade scoop.
That's right, Pat. While in 4th grade, the students are working hard on their division, and in 3rd grade, the students are working hard on their multiplication tables. In social studies class, the 3rd grade students are working on a project about Indians and their tribes. The students are also working on this project in computer class. In science class, the students are working on life science, physical science, earth science, and the human body. In ILA, they are reading this week's story in their Storytown textbook called School Days. In 4th grade social studies, the students are learning about the events that led up to the Revolutionary War and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In math, they are working with long division that includes remainders. In science, the students learned about all the food chain and are looking forward to performing a song they learned for Catholic Schools Week open house. I bet the parents will be thrilled to hear those songs, right, Pat?
Yeah, maybe we can even get some video of that for our next newscast. Speaking of video, let's head over to Nydia, where the 5th grade is working on video projects.
That's right, Pat. In social studies, the 5th graders all put themselves into the shoes of a slave and produced videos of real slave escape stories. In 5th grade ILA, students are beginning their writing binders. They do all sorts of fun writing assignments and keep them in their binders. In science, they are starting their biomes project and learning about different types of ecosystems. Students are also learning how to find greatest common factors and least common multiples by building a prime factor tree in math. In religion, they just finished learning about the gifts of the Holy Spirit and are now learning about the sacrament of the Eucharist. Also in social studies, the students are finishing up brochures on a state of their choice, and they are sharing facts about the states as well as their natural resources. I've also seen some of the projects hanging in the hallways, and they are really cool.
Thanks, Nydia. I know something else that is going to be hanging in the hallway soon, and that's the Super Bowl project, right, Jonathan?
That's right, Pat. Mrs. Burnham's Super Bowl projects allow the students to do math that involves the Super Bowl. For example, students can compare stats of the teams competing in the event. That topic ties in with what the students are working on right now, which is percents and decimals and graphing using mean, median, and mode. In science, in 6th grade, the students just recently started a new unit on physical science. The 6th graders are learning about speed, distance, and acceleration, and they learned how to calculate and find each of them. The students just recently did a lab where they had to compare 2 marbles and find each of the marbles' speed. In 7th grade, the students went into the body to explore the world of cells, and they just recently had a project on it. Check out the projects in the hallways upstairs. They are awesome. In 8th grade, the students are going to infinity and beyond to study our universe and planetary motion. I hope there's a lot of speed and motion in this year's Super Bowl, Pat, and not a blowout like last year's.
Me too. I hope the Super Bowl is great. Now let's head over to Caleb with the interesting world of fairy tales in 6th, 7th, 8th grade ILA and social studies.
That's right, Pat. 6th graders are continuing to work on their fractured fairy tales. The 6th graders decided to continue their fairy tales in groups and even try to get them published. Before they do that, though, they will have them available for viewing in the library, so be on the lookout for them. In 7th grade, Mr. Peasy and the students just recently started the book The Outsiders. The students are also working on Latin roots and prefixes. Lastly, the 7th graders are learning about the history of drive-in movie theaters and restaurants. In 8th grade, the students are reading The Treasure of Lemon Brown while focusing on static and dynamic characters. In social studies, the 6th graders are learning about the Roman Empire. In 7th grade, they are learning about the American Revolution. The class is discussing the Declaration of Independence, the break from Britain, and the necessity of war. The 8th grade is learning about the Progressive Era and women's rights. So as you can see, Pat, in social studies, the upper grades are learning about important events in our world's history.
Thanks, Caleb. Now let's head over to Megan with gym, computer, and Spanish.
Mucho, Patrick. Boy, Mrs. Johnson is keeping the kids very busy this start of the year.
The 3rd graders are working on months and days in Spanish class. The 4th graders are working on a unit about families. The 5th graders are working on Spain and its culture. 6th graders are working on the present tense of AR verbs. They also know how to ask questions and say no in Spanish. The 7th graders are learning about the present tense of IR verbs. The 8th graders are learning about going places using IR verbs. There's a lot of collaborating going on in the computers this month. The 2nd graders are creating aquariums, while 4th graders are making up mystery bookmarks. The 6th graders are working on digital fractured fairy tale books in art, ILA, and computers, while the 7th graders just made Revolutionary War trading cards. The 8th grade is working on technology timelines in Prezi. And the 3rd and 5th grades are learning about habitats and ecosystems in science, but they are adding technology in a big way to their presentations. In gym, the students are practicing all kinds of games for the pep rally during Catholic Schools Week. They are trying many different activities like balancing a ball on a tennis racket, shooting balls into bins, and relay races with a baton.
I can't wait for Catholic Schools Week, Pat. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I love the pep rally. That's all we have for this edition of W-OLGC TV News. Bye.